Right, Year 5s, last maths video of the term. You've done a great job keeping up with this, so let's crack on and get our last one done. The first question says, what is the volume of this box? Remember how you work out volume. Question 28. Give Ravi's mass in pounds. 1 kilogram is roughly 2.2 pounds, and he weighs 40 kilograms. And the third question, in the circle below, angle B is 126 degrees smaller than angle C. Find the size of each unknown angle. You'll need to use your angle facts and possibly some bar modelling and logic to help you solve it. That's a tricky question. Have a go at pausing the video and trying to solve these three. So for the first question, volume is length times width times height, or length times width times depth. You can times them in any order, it doesn't matter. I choose to do 12 times 8, which is 96, and then 96 times 6, which got me 576 centimetres squared, because we're measuring volume. Question 28. You might have chosen to solve this in a different method to mine. We needed to do 40 times 2.2. I thought that was going to be quite tricky, so I did 10 times 2.2, which was 22, and then I did 4 lots of that, which is 88. I wonder if you chose that method or if you chose a different one. Question 29. I need to use the angle fact that angles in a circle or around a point equal 360 degrees. So I started there. I knew the total was 360 and I already had 108. That told me that what was left was 252. Now I knew that angle B and C were the same, except that angle C had another 126 degrees, and the total was 252. So to find out what each block was worth, I did 252 take away 126. Which meant that both blocks together must be worth 126. So then I did 126 divided by 2, which meant that each block was 63. I knew then that angle B must be 63 degrees, and angle C must be 63 degrees, plus another 126, and that was 189 degrees. That was a tricky question. Well done if you got the answer to that one. The first question on this one is a percentage one, just like the one we did yesterday and the one we did last week. What percentage of the pupils in class 5C are girls? How many are girls out of the total? Remember, you're trying to get it out of 100 to work out your percentage. This question is really tricky and I don't know whether I found the best way to answer it. I'll show you my way to answer it on the next slide, but you have a go first. What percentage of pupils in all 3 classes are boys? Remember, this table shows you how many are girls, so how are you going to work out how many are boys? And then how are you going to work that out as a percentage? Pause the video and have a go. So for the first question, I knew 15 girls out of 20 children. I needed to get that out of 100 to work out my percentage, so I did 20 times 5 was 100, and that meant I had to do the same to the top. 15 times 5 was 75, so 75% of the class were girls. For the next question, I still don't know whether I have the right method. I had a look at how many were girls, and that left me how many were boys. So in class 5A, 20 out of 35 were girls, that must mean there are 15 boys. In class B, 15 out of 25 were girls, that must mean there were 10 boys. And in class C, 15 out of 20 were girls, that must mean there were 5 boys. I knew therefore altogether that there were 20 boys out of 80 children. This is where it got tricky, because I wanted it to be out of 100. To work out my percentage. But there's not an easy way to turn 80 into 100. I thought I'd need one lot of 80, and then I'd need another 20, and 20 is a quarter of 80, so I'd need to times it by 1 1/4 to get to 100. I did the same to the top. I times 30 by 1 1/4. 30 times 1 is 30, and a quarter of 30, halved and halved again, is 7.5. So I had 37.5 out of 100, which isn't a very good fraction, but it did help me work out my percentage, 37.5%. That was a super tricky question. If you found a better way to solve it, could you send it to me so that I'll know for next time? Thanks. For the next question, you need to not measure and use the facts that they've told you. Lulu drew a figure, a shape, made up of a regular pentagon and a square. Hopefully you know something about regular shapes, and in particular squares, that would help you work out how long each side is. The area of the square is 36 centimetres squared. What two numbers that are the same would you have to times to get to 36? Then you need to find the perimeter of this figure. So if you know this length and this length, do you know this length and this length? And add them together to find the perimeter. For question 39, a line graph shows the number of visitors to the art museum from Monday to Friday. What is the increase in the number of visitors from Tuesday to Friday? Have a go at solving this question. Pause the video now. So for this one, if I knew that the area was 36, then I knew 6 times 6 made 36. So I knew that each of these square lengths must be 6 centimetres. Because this square length is exactly the same as the pentagon, and the pentagon is regular, I knew that all of these lengths must also be 6 centimetres. Then I had to work out the perimeter. So that was 6, add 6, add 6, add 6, add 6, add 6, add 6. I didn't add this one because it's not as part of the outside of the shape. So that was 6 lots of 7, which was 42 centimetres. For this question, I worked out how many there were on Tuesday, 2,000, and how many there were on Friday, 2,500. What was the increase? The increase was 500 visitors. These 3 questions are all quite challenging. You'll need to think through them really carefully, one step at a time, to solve them. I'm going to read each one and then pause the video and have a go. 1,268 boys and 928 girls took part in the general knowledge quiz. I wonder how many children that was altogether. The number of children who did not win any prizes was 8 times the number of children who did. My suggestion here is you bar model to help you picture it. Find the number of children who did not win any prizes. Take it step by step and try and solve it. Pause the video now and have a go. For the next question, Elliot jogs around the park every day from Monday to Friday. So we need to know how many days that is. Each day he jogs 5 minutes longer than he did the day before. So each day his run gets longer. If he jogs for 3 hours and 20 minutes over the 5 days, how long does he jog for on Friday? My suggestion is you work out what it would be if they were all the same, and then think about how you can adjust for the fact his run gets longer every day of the week, totaling 3 hours and 20 minutes. Pause the video and have a go. The last question. Amira has 2 sets of miniature building blocks, one to build a castle and one to build a cottage. The amount of time she took to build the cottage is half the time she took to build the castle. I'd suggest you bar model so that you can help picture that. The amount of time she took to build the cottage is half the amount of time she took to build the castle. If she took 2 hours and 45 minutes to build the castle and the cottage, how much time did she take to build the castle? Give your answer in hours and minutes. Pause the video and have a go. These three were all really tricky questions and involved you doing each one step by step until you got to an answer. Hopefully you've had a really good go, and hopefully you've got some answers that you're ready to check with me. So for the first question, I needed to know, first of all, how many children there were altogether. There were 2,250 children altogether. Then I bar modelled. I knew that not winning was 8 times more likely than winning. And I knew my total was 2,250 children. So I had to split my 9 blocks by my 2,250. That gave me 250. I knew that each block, every block, was worth 250. Find the amount of children who did not win. Well, there were 8 blocks of 250 children who didn't win. So I did 8 times 250, which is 2,000. 2,000 children did not win a prize. The odds weren't looking pretty good in that competition. Okay, for the next question, I started by imagining that he would jog the same amount each day. First of all, I converted the hours and minutes just into minutes, and it was 200 minutes. Then I said if it was 200 minutes split evenly between 5 days, it would be 40 minutes a day. So I imagined that he ran 40 minutes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. But I knew he couldn't run the same every day because it got 5 minutes longer. So I put my 40 minutes as the middle of the week, and I took off 5 minutes from one and added 5 minutes to the next one. And I took off another 5 minutes and added another 5 minutes. If you total these amounts, you'll get 200 minutes. So on Friday he jogged for 50 minutes. And the final question. The amount of time she took to build the cottage was half the time she took to build the castle. So if the cottage took 1 block, the castle would take twice as many, 2 blocks. Altogether it took her 2 hours and 45 minutes, which I converted to say was 165 minutes. Then I knew I had to do 165 minutes split between the 3 blocks I had. That got each block being worth 55 minutes. The question asks, how much time does she take to build the castle? Well, that's 2 lots of 55 minutes, which is 110 minutes, or it asks you to give your answer in hours and minutes, 1 hour and 50 minutes. Those 3 were really tricky questions. Hopefully, if you didn't manage to solve them on your own, you now understand how you could solve them by working them through with me. Okay, final video complete. You've worked really, really hard Year 5s this year, and I've been super proud. Don't forget about maths over the summer, keep up your times table knowledge, and keep working hard so you're ready to hit the ground running in Year 6. Enjoy your summer, and I'll see you in September. Bye!